I don't know about you, but I think it's blasphemy to read a hardcover with this thing on it. That is just so frustrating. I need to take it off every single time. I found it, I bought it. I genuinely can't tell who she's gonna end up with. I am gonna finish this book tonight, and the fact that I am so motivated and so excited to read it speaks volumes about how good it is. End reveal I found was such a curveball and so stupid because she's obsessed with romance books, so I can relate to her on that point. 6 hours and I have to read it. I slammed the book and said, what a waste of my time. It is such a good book. Oh, this is suspicious. It could be X. I'm thinking it's not. It's not. You're setting me up for failure. I have 48 hours to finish 2 to 3, but really 2 books. And I work a 9 to 5, and tomorrow actually I have the day off because I am going on a 5-hour hike, which is a 2-hour drive away. So essentially the entire day. And I have plans every single night until this deadline of mine. Why I have to read 2 books is because I have book club, and until Monday I didn't know what the books we were reading were. I just completely forgot that book club was coming up, and we haven't met in so long, and we're catching up on talking about a few books. But as you saw yesterday, I did pick up Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It, and drumroll please, in less than 24 hours, I got this yesterday afternoon, I am now on page 149. This is a really good book. I find myself laughing out loud quite often. I was explaining what it was to Joe because he was confused why I kept laughing out loud when he's reading a stabby murder book, and so he can't relate to like the funny book, but I'm really enjoying it. That is book 1. Book 2 is a Riley Sager murder, I think, murder mystery. Maybe it's a bit of a thriller, I'm not sure. And I couldn't find it in the bookstore yesterday. It was not in stock, so I'm gonna have to read it on my Kindle. My friend said she did find it at Winners, which is kind of why it became the book club book for this month. Why we have 2, I don't know. I think we just didn't really agree on one. And I think it's going to be really funny on Thursday, today's Tuesday, to see if people read both or just one. And if they did only read one, which one did they read? Obviously, I love fantasy and romance the most. I like fiction as well, but mystery is my least favorite. My entire mystery section is like not even half of this little shelf down here. And probably most of those were for book club. If not, no, truly, almost all of these I read for book club. We're gonna target reading both. I do read on my Kindle quite quickly, and I'm being very dedicated. I honestly am shocked that last night we did watch Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. We've been rewatching for the past year, and yesterday we finally finished. And still after that, we got in bed, and I must have read almost 100 pages, and then I read this morning on the couch when I woke up early, and now it is nearly 9 a.m. and I have to start working, and so I cannot keep reading, but it is such a good book. I'm gonna try maybe on my lunch break, but then tonight I have horseback riding, which I'm so excited for. It's my 3rd time going this summer, and I've just started weekly classes. Well, this is my first one. Then we have plans with some of our friends, so reading is really gonna have to fit into my life, which every time I see a 24-hour, 48-hour readathon or people who read an insane amount, which used to be me when I was in uni, I get so jealous that they have the time. All I want is time with no plans, no commitments, no work, to just sit and read. But I also love my life, and I love how fulfilling it is and how many of my friends I get to hang out with. It's the duality. I want both. I want no plans and to hibernate or to sit at a park and read all day, but then I also love keeping myself really busy. With all that being said, I want to tell you a bit about Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. I don't know about you, but I think it's blasphemy to read a hardcover with this thing on it. That is just so frustrating. I need to take it off every single time. I am about halfway through, and if you didn't know, the author for this book is Brooke Averick, who is a pretty famous podcaster. I didn't really follow her before her book. I actually discovered her really because she was featured in Royal Court by Brittany Broski, and I watch almost every episode of that, and I thought she was really funny. I had seen the book mentioned a few times online. I know Sarah Caroli, who I adore on YouTube, went to some event with her in New York and kind of talked about the book. I can't remember if she had read it or not, but I like it. It's pretty funny. Like I said, I find myself genuinely laughing out loud. I wasn't sure if I'd have a hard time relating to the character because it's just not really an experience I've been through specifically, since she has so much anxiety and this pressure on herself around her romantic and sexual life. You can still apply that pressure on yourself and being hard on yourself in other ways, which I think I have a lot with work or with friendships. And so that made it really interesting. And so far, I'll find myself, reading about her going through this crazy pressure she puts on herself. And I see myself in her, but just in a different context or like in a different environment or situation that I'm putting that pressure on myself. Nonetheless, I genuinely can't tell who she's gonna end up with. It is a rom-com. The premise is essentially that she is nearly 30 years old. She's never been with anyone. She's never had a boyfriend. She's never done anything. She tried having a first kiss when she was in elementary or high school, and a really funny story happens. That's right at the start of the book, so I don't want to spoil it because it's pretty funny to read through it. She has this core friend group in LA, and her sister is getting married in New York, and that was kind of a big part of setting up the book, of how she's gonna put herself out there and be brave at the wedding and maybe flirt with some people. And we've just got into the wedding. I think it's the night before. It's like the welcome dinner or welcome cocktail. So I just got there. She does have a best friend who she met in university, and he's a very attractive man, Jonathan or Justin. I think it's Jonathan. Then she has, ooh, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just gonna say she has 3 options. Jonathan, we find out from the start. And the thing is, she's pretty obvious about how she sometimes thinks he could be my friends to lovers love, because she's obsessed with romance books. So I can relate to her on that point. But she has 3 prospects, and I like 2 of them. The other one, I feel like we just don't know enough about him yet. I'm really excited to keep reading. I will say she's been very, very slowly so far getting over some of her fears or phobias or anxieties, but I already see myself finding it a bit hard to believe if she immediately makes the jump and at the end finds her happily ever after and achieves everything on this little checklist she's made for herself in the span of a month. Because when we start the book, she has exactly 30 days until she's 30, and so that's kind of the countdown and the checklist that she's trying to achieve and work towards. But if you've had this going on for 30 years, I don't know, I think I need more time with you as a character to learn how you're gonna go through that journey and overcome everything. So we'll see how it wraps up. I'm really intrigued. Honestly, I hope I finish it tonight. I'm a pretty quick reader, so if we get back from plans tonight, get in bed, and I have an hour and a half to read, I think I could probably finish this up. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I also think these little cherries in the heart are so cute. So I'm gonna leave you there, hopefully gonna binge this. I will give you another update soon, and then we need to start book 2. But yeah, so far thoroughly enjoying it. Honestly, it was pretty hyped, but it's kind of worth it. I'm glad. You never know with really popular books, but I like it. Good job, Brooke. You're a great author. I finally finished work and I'm about to eat leftovers, and I'm on chapter 17. Then I have to run to meet our friends, but I told myself I get to read a little bit while I eat my dinner, and I'm just sitting outside. We do not smoke. That, I don't know where that is from. The book is really good. I'm gonna give you a proper update tomorrow morning, but I think I'm gonna finish it tonight. Hopefully. I want to. The part I was just reading during dinner got so good, but I'm really, really confused now. So this is gonna be a spoiler section because I wanna talk out my feelings and then go back and look at this, and then if you've read this book, you will relate. So right now there's spoilers coming, and I'm gonna put on the screen here when you can skip to. We just found out that where Finn lives, so one of the main prospects, is where Jonathan, the roommate best friend, has been going. But I don't understand. Does that mean Jonathan and Finn have the hots for each other and they're gay and that's why she's embarrassed because she's been pursuing them both but they're gay? Or is he seeing... Well, no, because Finn said his roommate is Noah and no one is seeing Meg. Or did Finn move in? I mean, did Jonathan move in with Finn? That's the part it's not clicking. I just got to chapter 22. So I need to keep reading to understand, but I'm on page 219. So I have read quite a bit today. This is wild. I'm for sure going to finish this tonight. I'm really excited. We just got home from dinner and I want to finish like a little few tasks and then plop either on the couch or even in bed. I haven't really read much in bed before nighttime, but right now the light is still coming in. It's raining outside. It is so cozy. And now that like the spoiler section is done, let me tell you my overall thoughts so far. I'm really enjoying. It's super bingeable. I mean, clearly the fact that I bought this book yesterday and I'm already nearly done, it hasn't even felt like too much of an effort to pick it up, or even in my busy life. Like, I worked a full day today, I had horseback riding, and I had dinner with some friends, and still through all of that and having a meeting that ran late, I managed to read so much because I read at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner. Even though we had dinner with friends, but I ate at home and then I met them there. And it didn't feel like a chore, which is honestly giving me a lot of hope because I have so many books I want to read over the next few months, years, my lifetime. And I've been a bit discouraged lately just because of how busy we are and how much there is to do. But not having social media is definitely helping. Anyway, this is turning into a much broader conversation and we're only on book 1. And actually, it's the end of Tuesday. Book club is on Thursday and I still haven't even started the second book. Like I told you though, I didn't find it at Indigo, but I do have it on my Kindle. So I'm gonna have to binge it on here if I choose to read it. Which I think the point of me filming this video was low-key to incentivize me to actually read the second book, the Riley Sager mystery, because otherwise I for sure would have just read Phoebe Berman and left it at that. But now I'm filming this, so it's like motivation to read even more, and I feel like I'm on a roll because Phoebe Berman is really good so far. It's not quite 5-star just because I can't relate super well in the love sense. Yes, I said like how she feels about certain situations applies. Also, a little tidbit, or not tidbit, but a little part that actually rubs me a bit the wrong way is when her dad comes to comfort her, because we had the wedding, by the way. I think in the last clip I told you they got to the wedding, and so the wedding happened. It was a tiny bit anticlimactic. Like, there was somewhat of a plot twist that happened there, but coming out of the wedding, not much happened at the wedding, and it was so much of the there was so much emphasis on it coming up, and then it happened. And then it's over. What was I gonna say? Her father kind of comforts her and says, oh, I had a lot of anxieties around dating, and the first date with your mom, I threw up and was very late. And it's crazy that he never told Phoebe that, or maybe Phoebe was never vulnerable with him. Not Phoebe, yeah, Phoebe. I keep thinking I'm calling her Brooke, the author's name, because she does say it's inspired by her life. But it's just wild that Phoebe's dad went through such a similar phase and he never really told her. So it makes me maybe realize like she kept so much of it private, but also once he says like, yeah, I did that too, she instantly feels so much better. But I guess maybe that's how anxieties work. It's like feeling more normal makes you feel better about it. I don't know, just something about that scene. If you've read the book, you might know what I mean. I just thought it either downplayed it a little bit or just felt a bit like random, that how has your dad after 30 years never told you this story? Anyway, I am really excited. I don't want to leave it on a like negative note, so I'll leave you with this. I am gonna finish this book tonight, and the fact that I am so motivated and so excited to read it speaks volumes about how good it is. So I will see you very soon, probably with my final thoughts. Hello. I am so happy to report I finally finished Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. Have I talked about it? I feel like these past 2 days have blurred so much, but I don't think I've talked to you since I finished it, because I finished it Tuesday late at night. I finished it at 10 p.m. Then we right away turned off the lights, turned on Steve. Steve is our hatch alarm clock. And then we woke up at 6 a.m. yesterday on Wednesday, went hiking, did a little fun day trip. Here's some clips. It was actually a really cute day.
Mr. Potter, welcome back.
Harry didn't know what to say. Everyone was looking at him.
As you know, for book club, oh my gosh, I read this when I was in school. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so as we know, for book club, I'm trying to find the Riley Sager book because I did. Did you read this?
No.
Oh,
I
that's
thought
what
it was
you
cool.
want me to buy?
Yeah.
We're trying to find a mystery book. None of these because we need to read it for book club, which is tomorrow. But Nikki just canceled. But I don't think they have it. But I am getting Harry Potter.
That's sick.
I know. This is you.
That's you. That's you.
It's Jazz.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Axolotl is her animal. It's her symbol. I'm waiting for this to come out in paperback because I don't like hardcover that much. I also hate when they do the colored spines. Like, that just ruins the book. Okay. Okay. So this is by another YouTuber and I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm so jealous. All I want is the next one in paperback. They don't even have Brimstone here.
Sleep is still and silent. Play smart.
Then we got home, had some plans, and I did find randomly in Barnes & Noble. I swear that's where I always find little books I want to buy and can't find at Indigo. This was weirdly expensive and it was in USD, and Canadian was not very favorable to USD. However, I found it, I bought it, but now that I bought it, book club is in 6 hours and I have to read it. All I did yesterday was read the prequel. Is that, I don't even think it's called a prequel. It's not, it doesn't have a title. I read one page, and then today I started chapter 1 and I'm now halfway through chapter 2, so I'm definitely still very much near the start. I'm on page 22 and I do want to tell you about Phoebe Berman, but I'm also like, I have limited amount of time. I need to read this book. So you might just have to wait till the end to hear my final thoughts on both because I need to grind. It is 11:59 a.m. I'm taking lunch 2 minutes early so that I can go really quickly heat up some food and start reading this. And then I have meetings and a lot of work I have to do. I actually have to prep for a meeting later today and I kind of have to do that over lunch. I'm rethinking my entire life because I genuinely, this is like the worst day for me to have to binge a book because of how much I have to do for work, because I did take yesterday off. As you saw, instead of reading in the car, I would have been a really bad car guest, and I never like leaving Joe hanging like that. We talked, we didn't really listen to music. We started Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on audiobook. He has never read the books and I've never listened to them on audio, so I thought that could be a fun third way to ingest the books. Third? Well, I guess I've read them multiple times and then I've watched the movies. So now we're doing the audiobook. It's pretty good. Sometimes though the accents and just all the sound effects made it kind of hard to understand some of the dialogue because they have a different voice actor and method of speaking for every character in the book. And it's been really fun. After each chapter, we pause and debrief what we thought about that chapter, and like he's discovering a lot of new tiny context clues and details about the wizarding world that you don't get in the movies. And the other day he called me an encyclopedia of Harry Potter, and that felt really cool. I felt really cool because every question he has I kind of know the answer, or we look it up, and it's been really fun. All that to say, it's now officially 12, which means it's officially lunchtime, which means it's officially time for me to feel guilty about not working, but instead I am gonna read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. Well, folks, we somehow did it. Yesterday, I actually finished Middle of the Night by Riley Sager while I was at book club. I remember walking through the door. I had just read a plot twist that someone is dead who we didn't think was dead. And I had about 60 pages left. I can't remember exactly where that happens in the book, but it is very, very close to the end. Maybe around here. This is where I was when I walked into book club, and I caught up with some of them, and then I sat on the couch on my own and finished the book because I wanted to give them my thoughts, but then I didn't want to be spoiled because I knew I wouldn't want to finish after, if that makes sense. For a mystery or thriller, I think it's really hard to get spoiled the ending and then want to return to that book or keep reading. So I was determined. It also means that this video was somehow successful. Thinking of how crazy my workday yesterday, and right now it's only 9:06 a.m. and I've been working for about an hour and a half. I'm just trying to get ahead of work. So I obviously haven't read today, but still, when did we start? Monday or Tuesday? In 2 days, essentially, I read 2 full books. Getting everyone's ratings was so funny. I'll tell you more about this book before we go into my overall thoughts and like how I'm processing how much I read in the past 2 days. But Middle of the Night, I went in completely blind. I did not read the back. All I knew is that it's a Riley Sager book, which we've read 1 or 2 others for book club before. And so I knew that it's mystery. I don't think it's really thriller, more just straight up mystery. And right off the bat, from the prequel, or just like the pre of the book, it's not chapter 1 yet, we know someone goes missing, and Ethan is our main character. So we follow Ethan throughout, and 30 years later he ends up back in the home, like the family home, where this person, Billy, his old best friend, went missing. And no one really knows what happened to Billy. After 30 years, they could never find him. They don't know if he disappeared, if someone snatched him, if he's dead. And it's been haunting Ethan his entire life because it's pretty dramatic. They were camping in Ethan's backyard when someone slashed the tent and I guess took or abducted or something, or Billy left. Like, Billy is no longer in the tent, never to be seen again. And that is how we start the book. And then the whole book, we are essentially trying to find out what happened to Billy. Where is Billy? Is he even alive? Because it's 30 years later. Ethan definitely has some issues, but he is kind of being haunted. There's a bit of a paranormal element to it, like all this talk about ghosts, and Billy was super, super into ghosts when they were kids. So then that kind of starts getting Ethan a bit nervous, or almost a believer, you could say. There were quite a few characters introduced because essentially they live outside of New York. They live near Princeton University because one of the neighbors is a professor there. I actually think Ethan's dad is a professor there. But to give you a sense of how many people you meet, we kind of get to know almost every single neighbor, like every single person who lives on the cul-de-sac on their street. And at first, I found it a bit overwhelming. There were way too many names given at me. By the end, I had an idea of who everyone was. But I will say, I felt as if I barely knew the culprit or some of the people involved at the end because I couldn't get to know them or their motives that much because I had to focus on chapters with so many other characters. And something I don't like in mystery is when looking back, it kind of just makes no sense of how it ended. I want to retroactively be able to have pieced together, oh, this makes sense. But the end reveal I found was such a curveball and so stupid. When I read what happened, I slammed the book and said, what a waste of my time. Like, at book club in front of everyone. I was so pissed because I binged this book in one day in the middle of a stressful, busy work day, and I hated how it ended. So I did end up giving it 2 stars because I guess binging it, like, that's its own experience, which just makes it better. I feel if I had read this over a long period of time, I would have hated it even more. So I guess binging it gave it like an extra star maybe. Oh, but it was just so frustrating to put in all that time and then get to the end and think that was the dumbest resolution. Not resolution, but that was just the dumbest ending. And something else, a storytelling method. I don't even know what you would describe this as, but once we get through the very slow middle, okay, so we get quite a bit of information here. Absolutely nothing happens here other than like a baseball being thrown around. If you know, you know. And then the end when I got to book club and had a reveal, and then the next 50 pages completely flew. And that was fun. But oh my gosh, that middle was boring. Maybe you need the boring middle to get to the fun end. Nonetheless, something this author did in this book, I also always thought Riley Sager was a girl. It is a man. He introduces a suspect near the middle / end of the book, a new suspect every chapter. I wouldn't say introduces like a new character, but just we learn a little bit of information that could make someone now a suspect. And within the same chapter, it's debunked, or we learn why it actually isn't that person. And honestly, that just got pretty frustrating because by the third time Ethan says, oh, this is suspicious, it could be X, I'm thinking, it's not. It's not. You're setting me up for failure because every character you think it is, in 10 pages, we find out it's not them. So that was also just poorly done, in my opinion. In a good mystery, I kind of want to think it's all of the suspects and not know until I get to the very, very end. Whereas this one, it's like we were checking them off as we go, which maybe that would have worked better in a movie. I don't know. I don't watch very many murder mystery movies, but yeah, it got repetitive, and I kind of thought to myself like, okay, well, what's the point of me reading this chapter if I'm just gonna find out it's not this person? As you can tell by my tone, it is also early morning, but did not enjoy this book. Was not for me. 2 stars at best. On Goodreads, I gave it a 2 stars, so it'll stay at that. I'm pissed how much money I spent on it, but it was an experience. And funny enough, one of the girl in book club, Kenzie, gave it 5 stars. Who is it? I think Sid gave it 4 stars, and then maybe Lana and Kim gave it 2 stars. Anyway, it was kind of funny. I always love talking to the book club girls about the range of ratings we have, and then hearing why they loved something, and then hearing the others on like why they hated something. That part is really, really, really fun. So listen, it's a book I wouldn't recommend, but some people love it, I guess. I'm not one of them. Then on to Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. Yeah, the more I think about it, is a bit closer to a 5 star. I gave it 4 on Goodreads officially. There was something about it that didn't quite make it a 5 for me. Someone mentioned something last night, which it felt a little bit YA at times, even though the topic is around adult, mature activities. None of that actually happens in the book. And so it's almost like the behind closed doors. It's definitely not a YA. It's just some of the way it was written, because it feels so light and fluffy, it was towing the line of how some other YA books make me feel. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. That's probably just why it wasn't quite a 5 star for me. But I'm going to remember this for a long time, just how funny it was. I laughed so many times and I flew through it. I had such a good time, and that's what you want out of a book. You want to escape the real world for a bit. It was really, really, really bingeable. And then the girls in book club who didn't read it, we all highly recommended it to them. I don't think we ever got around to saying everyone's rating for this, but it was all in the 4s or 5s. It was just genuinely a really funny book, so I do recommend it. I wish it was paperback, but honestly, get it on your Kindle or wait for the paperback or buy it now. Like, it is that good. It's kind of worth it. I'm off to brunch now, but I wanted to officially close this video. Thank you for coming along with me for the past 2-3. I still can't remember when I started this. I think because Wednesday was our road trip, I bought Phoebe on Monday, and then I started reading it Monday afternoon, finished it Tuesday night. Wednesday, we only read Harry Potter, listened in the car, did not actually physically read it. And then yesterday, in essentially one day, I did Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. So it was pretty much a success. I'm gonna count that as 2 days because Wednesday was like a block of no reading because of our little day trip, which was so fun. And I just want to keep reading. Now I need to get out the bad taste of this most recent book though, so I don't know what I want to read next. I'm looking on my TBR and I think I want to get to Heartstopper. I did pick up the 6th volume, which I think is the last, but I'm not too sure. Heartstopper Volume 6 as a contender to read next. I think I'm gonna help book club pick a August read because we're kind of morphing book club with another event, and so maybe we'll do a little fantasy, which August is kind of weird for a fantasy pick, but they asked for it and I love fantasy and I want to get through my TBR, so I might suggest Dance of Thieves. We'll see. I've had that one for a really long time. If you made it till now, thank you so much for watching till the end. I wish you a lovely rest of your day, evening, night, whenever you're watching this, and I will definitely see you in the next video where we're going to read some more. I think I'm going to do a bookshelf tour. That'll be really fun. That is all. Make sure to like and subscribe to see whenever I post anything new, and yeah.